Welcome back, everybody. Detroit has changed a lot since the 1980s, especially in the downtown area. But the People Mover really hasn't changed that much since they installed it.
But that could be changing. Kim DeGiulio live this morning to explain what could be coming down the tracks with the old People Mover. Hey, Kim.
Okay, guys, it's all about keeping things up to date, right? So, you got an old hairstyle, time to just keep it up to date, and that's what the People Mover is doing. So if you've never rode the People Mover, now's the time. Free rides for all of 2024, and that's just one change this year for the People Mover in downtown Detroit. The People Mover started operating in 1987, giving people a way to get around the heart of downtown Detroit on its 2.9-mile one-way loop.
The next station is Bricktown.
But today, it's not something many people in downtown Detroit are using that frequently. Have you ever rode the People Mover?
No, I have not.
Have you ever rode the People Mover before?
I have not, but I've heard it, definitely, overhead, walking to work. So.
The Detroit People Mover is hoping to change that, starting with the Zero Fare pilot program, offering free rides for all of 2024. So far, ridership is up.
In January, we had almost double the ridership compared to last year.
Robert Kramer of Detroit Transportation Corporation says they're also working to bring it up to date.
Last week, but we're putting up video messaging screens at each station at the street level and the platform level. When those are activated, those will have information about events, but they'll also tell you the hours of operation. They'll tell you about when the next couple of trains are coming.
While the upgrades are welcome, many people would love to see the transportation system take them beyond downtown Detroit.
I would love more access to, the west side of town, like the Corktown area, east side. I mean, obviously you can go north. It seems like the People Mover is so centrally located to Campus Martius that if you're in Campus Martius already, you might as well just walk wherever you're going.
Where would you like to go?
Getting over to Corktown, some like the hotels over there.
I live towards on the outside of the city, so if it was an option to come to more the residential areas, that'd be great.
Robert says new locations on the People Mover could be coming.
Okay, yeah, so we're working to with the mayor's support, working on getting this plan process underway. Hopefully in the next couple of months, we'll be able to have the funding, the plan secured, bring on a national expert team, and really be able to drill down into some of those details.
Another thing that has changed since the 80s is how people use downtown. It's become more of a residential neighborhood, and travel patterns have also changed.
Is that you're seeing a lot more activity in the evenings than you would actually during the actual workday. And so that changes travel patterns for the People Mover and just for access in downtown in general.
Detroit's Director of Planning and Development, Antoine Bryant, is working with the Detroit People Mover to plan some of these changes.
I know from a purely planning standpoint, we can see it being a great amenity for people to have, quite frankly, what amounts to a driverless option, right, for weekends when people are really partying, having a good time, and they can, have another option to get around where they're not behind a wheel. We think is a tremendous add.
Things like keeping the People Mover open later on weekends or nights with late events, and connecting the People Mover to other forms of public transportation.
And one of the things we're trying to synthesize on our end is how do we tie in other services and other routes to those stops, right? How do we make sure the transition to DDOT is more seamless? How do we make sure that the transition to some sort of electrical vehicle is more appropriate?
And a perfect example of that right here, we're at the Grand Circus Park station. And this one, this sign is about the D2A2 bus connecting Ann Arbor to Detroit. So things like that. Also, new stops not off the table. So in the next couple of months, we will be hearing about potential new stops, maybe even getting the People Mover to go the opposite way, two-way directions. It's all on the table. Again, the People Mover is here to stay and changing, bringing it up to date for the year 2024. In downtown Detroit, I'm Kim DeGiulio, Local 4.